I'm going to teach you how to make writing essays or papers of any sort easier, quicker, faster, less of a headache. So especially if you are, so this is great for parents, teachers, but also if you're anywhere from fifth grade literally through graduate school, this will make life easier for you, especially for students with executive function challenges. I'm going to show you this template here and explain exactly how this template works and why it makes it so easy for you. So essentially, again, if you're a student who has executive function challenges, ADHD, or any sort of executive function challenges, and you're the type of student who, when you go to write a paper, you go to write an essay, again, regardless of what grade you're in, you're trying to write the essay and it takes you forever. Everything takes so long. It's so frustrating. And especially if you're the type of student who, when you start writing, your paper goes in a million different directions. And especially for those of you where your paper goes in a million different directions, but you have one giant long mono paragraph, and then you have to come back to that paragraph and break it up into pieces and figure out how to sort everything out. So if that is you and you waste a lot of time and spend a lot more time writing papers than you should, then this video will help you really figure out what to do. So what's up? My name is Seth Perler. I'm an executive function coach. Wear a lot of hats in the executive function, neurodiversity, ADHD, 2E worlds. And you can check me out at sethperler.com, subscribe to the YouTube, like it, comment, all the things. Now, if you have a comment during this video, please go ahead and pop it down there if you have a thought that might help some people out, or a suggestion to make this video better. So basically, here we go. We are going to take a look at this template. So I'm showing you this, and I'm going to enlarge the view in a moment here. But this is a template that I share with my students. So I work with students like the ones that I described before, who waste a lot of time and things take way too long, like writing papers take way too long. So what this template does is this makes it so that you can literally take this template, duplicate it. So what you want to do first is you want to create a new document in Google Docs or whatever you use to write your documents. And then you want to, you're going to do what I teach you here and just follow it step by step. You can click pause as I teach you this here. And then next time you have to write a paper, you're just going to duplicate this and rename it with whatever the name of your new paper is. So this is going to save you a lot of time. Here we go. This is how it works. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to open up your new document and you're going to have a blank document in front of you. I'm going to enlarge the size of this here. And the first thing you're going to do is NDTT. So name, date, teacher, title. So pop your name in there, obviously. You can leave this blank or you can put a date format in. For example, if you like the format of that sort of a format for your date, you can pop in one that you can change every time you do a new paper, or you can leave it how I had it before, just saying date, and then teacher and class. So for some of you, you're just going to write the teacher's name, you know, Miss Jones, Mr. Smith, whatever the name of the teacher is. And for some of you, you're going to want to add the class. So if it's biology 101, you might write bio 101 or what have you. So you then are going to write, again, your name, the date. Now the date should be, I should stress that the date should probably be the due date. Most of the time you're going to put the due date in there. And then you're going to put your teacher and class and then the title. Now the title can be the name of the project that the teacher gave you. So it might be, let's say we're doing biology like I mentioned before, it might be Basics of Biology. That might be the title that the teacher assigned, and you might use that for your title, or you may have your own creative title. It just depends what you're doing. Either way, you're going to want the title. Now, what this template is going to do is it's going to structure the whole paper for you. And we're going to get this all laid out. And some of you are going to get resistant as I'm teaching you here, meaning that I'm going to say something like what I just did, name, date, teacher, title. And you're going to be like, yeah, Seth, but I don't need to do this, but I don't need to do that. Please trust me. I was a teacher for many years. I've been working with students for many years. Just pop the stuff in that I'm teaching you. It'll make life easier because you can always delete it later, anything you don't need. So this template has everything you need and you can delete out what you don't need. Here we go, getting back into it. So now you have your name, date, teacher, title. So you started with a blank document and then you put in name, date, teacher, title. Then what I want you to do is go into insert, and down here it has page numbers, and put your page numbers on it. So this now has page 1, and this is in the header here. And some of you might like to use your header also to put your name or the teacher's name or information up there. So you can do that, especially if you're a more advanced student or you're a junior in high school and above. That's probably better because it's more professional and it just shows better with the teacher. So let's go back to it here. So now we have the page number here and your header here, and that obviously will auto-populate to every single page. And then we're going to get your title in, like I explained. And now what I want you to do is write paragraph 1, introduction, then body paragraph or section 1, body paragraph or section 2, body paragraph or section 3, in conclusion. And I'll tell you what to put in these in just a moment. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to structure it out by writing the main parts of the paper. Now, when you were in 4th or 5th or 6th grade, you probably learned about the 5-paragraph essay. And this template, even though it's about the 5-paragraph essay, is really powerful, as I said, even if you're in college, because you still use the same basic structure regardless of your age, generally speaking. So this format will work for you, again, even if you're in college. And when we were learning about the 5-paragraph essay, or whatever your teachers called it in your school, you were taught most likely that you're going to start with an introduction, and then you're going to have 3 paragraphs that support your thesis or what the paper is about. And then you're going to have 1 conclusion that tells you what you just learned. So I'm going to say that again. First, you have an introduction. The introduction says, hey, what's up, audience? I'm about to tell you about this. So that's the introduction. Okay. Again, the introduction paragraph is, hey, what's up, audience? I'm about to tell you about this stuff. Now, you're going to move into the body sections or the paragraphs. So body section 1 says, hey, here's one thing that I'm going to teach you about to explain what I'm teaching about. Then you're going to have body paragraph 2 that does the same thing, body paragraph 3 that does the same thing, and then you're going to have the conclusion. And the conclusion says, hey, this is what I just told you. Let me summarize. Here it is in summary form. So that is what we're doing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these pieces in here. We have the intro, body 1, body 2, body 3. It can be a paragraph, but if you're in high school or college, it may not be a paragraph. It may actually be a section with several paragraphs in it. Your introduction may be several paragraphs, depending on the complexity of the type of essay or paper you are writing. Obviously, if you're writing a 10-page paper for a teacher in high school or college, you're going to have more than 1 paragraph. So that's what we have, just the basic structure. You have the intro, body, 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 and conclusion. So go ahead and type that in your document right now if you haven't already. Next, I want you to type something like this in here. For the introduction, just put the word thesis in a question mark, because your intro has to have some sort of a thesis. The thesis statement basically is saying, this is what the paper is about. It doesn't matter when you actually write the essay if that sentence is perfect. What I'm telling you is this: when you cut and paste the template that I'm teaching you, and you open it up for a new class, when you start to write a new paper and it says thesis question mark, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just brainstorm right in there what your paper is about. So for those of you perfectionists, you don't have to be perfect. You should not be perfect. Just get the idea in there. Why? Because what I'm teaching you is giving you a structure. And a structure, I want you to imagine building a house. The house has to be built on a strong structure. Okay, so you may see the walls, you may see pictures on the walls, guitars hanging on the walls, but beneath the guitars and beneath the drywall here, there is a structure of 2x4s, wood, that is creating the structure for the entire house. Okay, so you are just building the structure here, and having that structure is going to prevent you from having those giant long paragraphs that go in a million different directions. Okay, getting back to it. Under introduction, you're going to want to have thesis question mark. What's my thesis? And what's this paper about? List 3 things that the paper is about. Okay. Now, yours might have 5, 4, possibly 2, but not likely. Most of the time, you're going to stick with the rule of 3s and do 3 or more. These are things that are going to support your thesis. So you pick a topic, let's say my favorite topic, guitars, right? I might talk about how this particular guitar was crafted and why it's such an awesome guitar. Okay. So what's this paper about? Why this Cower guitar is such an awesome guitar. It does this, this, and this. I'm going to list 3 things in my introduction that, so what's this paper about? Why this guitar is so awesome. And I'm going to tell you this, this, and this. Now, these are going to turn into the topics for your body sections, body paragraphs, or sections. 1, 2, and 3. Now, after you have popped this in, you're going to pop some stuff in for body paragraph 1, 2, and 3. And this you can replicate, so you don't have to type it over and over. All you have to do is type this right now. So go ahead and click pause and type this in. The first question you're asking is, what is the actual point of this section? So maybe the point of my first section about this guitar is how the pickups that pick up the sound were designed and why they're so awesome. So maybe my first section is going to be about the pickups. So what's the actual point of this section? It's to teach people why the pickups are so important, or why they're so great, or whatever. What's the supporting evidence? Now I'm going to teach the people within this paragraph or this section 3 pieces of supporting evidence to tell about these pickups. So 3 details about them. So it might be a very short paragraph, or it might be a very long section. And again, it doesn't matter if you're in 5th grade or college. This basic structure, you may have 5 things, 10 things, 20 things, I don't know. But this basic structure will help you. And then, so what you're going to type is, what's the actual point of this section? What's the supporting evidence? 3 things, and just pop in 3 pieces of evidence when you're ready. But for now, if you just take this and then you copy it, you can now paste this under paragraph section 2 and 3. So you can literally copy and paste the exact same thing into each of those sections, because every single time you write a paper, you're generally doing the same thing. Okay. So getting back to it, we now have our intro. What's the paper about? We now have our body 1, 2, and 3, sections 1, 2, and 3. And now we get to conclusion. And what I want you to type under conclusion is, what was my paper about? What did I just teach my audience about? Something like that. Okay. Now, even though, especially for those of you who are in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you may not be used to having to write a bibliography or a works cited page. And I know that you don't have to do that for every paper, but I want you to get it in the template anyway. So the next thing you're going to do is write bibliography or works cited page. And go ahead and do that right now. Click pause and pop that in there. And then you're going to put 1, 2, and 3, and you can add 4 if you want. But a lot of times when you're writing a paper, you have to show that you used evidence or research or data to support what you wrote in your paper, because there's a difference between facts and opinions. And what we want to be doing as people who are getting an education, who are educating ourselves, bettering ourselves, developing your mind. As you're developing your mind, you want to learn to think critically. You want to use evidence to prove points about things to people. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to type in bibliography or works cited page, and then 1, 2, and 3. So it's a placeholder. And when you're ready for the papers that you have to do this, you can go to easybib.com to help you get started. There are many different ways. Obviously, you're going to have to learn how to make a bibliography. Your teachers will teach you this, but this will just get you started. It'll be a placeholder. It'll be ready for you to rock and roll. Now, what I have below here is very helpful. So I'm going to review what I did here. So basically we have a name, date, teacher, title. Then you have paragraph 1, introduction, body 1, body 2, body 3, conclusion, and the bibliography. That is the structure of most papers. Almost everything you're going to do for almost any class, that's the basic structure. So let's say right now you're a freshman in high school. In 3 years, you can do the same thing, take the exact same template, and let's say you're in your language arts class and you have to write an essay for something. You can cut and paste this essay, start your paper, and it will work for you. You just have basic, simple modifications. Again, for those of you who write and your writing goes all over the place and you waste a lot of time trying to reorganize your paper, this is going to help you. This is actually part of your drafting or pre-writing or you're outlining your paper. This can help you with that too. Okay, next thing I want you to do is type in here, paste rubric below. When possible, cut and paste the assignment or the rubric so you can refer to it as you write. So what I teach students is, if your teacher has given you a digital copy of what the assignment is, let's say you have a 3-page rubric about the paper or project that you have to do, you want to cut and paste that whole thing down here. Now, if they gave you a ditto, a paper that you are using for your rubric, that you're not going to retype that whole thing in here. But what if they gave you a digital copy? Just paste it in here. Okay, so cut and paste the rubric, and the fine-tooth combing technique basically is where I want you to go through the entire rubric and with a fine-tooth comb and delete out every single thing that is not important or that you no longer need. For example, we might find that if you paste the rubric in here, you'll see that your teacher said that it has to be in Times font, Times New Roman font, 12-point font, double spaced. Well, what you can then do is select all, go to, I just did it for you, but Times New Roman font, which is what we have, 12-point font, and double spaced. Does that make sense? That's the most common thing you're going to be told by teachers is to do that. But some teachers have different specific formats. Again, this will be very easy to change the format for you. So, and then be sure to delete all this before you turn in your paper. You're not going to leave that there. As you're writing your paper, you're going to refer to that rubric below and delete out everything. So if it tells me that I need 3 paragraphs and I've done 2, I can delete out those sections from the rubric or whatever. But we want to make life easy and simple and make it quicker. We don't want to waste time. So this will save you time. The effort doing this will save you time. Okay. So now it says paste rubric below. Be sure to delete this. So I just went through that. And then finally, I just put something here that's the writing process. And I have more videos about the writing process, but it might be wise for you to pop this in here. I don't care if you're writing a haiku or you're writing a book. The writing process is the same for everybody everywhere. Essentially, the writing process for you to write a great paper has 5 steps: planning, drafting, revising, editing, publishing. Planning is your outline or your brainstorm or your brain dump or whatever. Planning is planning the paper. In fact, this, cutting and pasting this template I'm teaching you, is part of planning. That is planning your paper. Most people with executive function challenges, myself included, want to skip out on the planning. I no longer do that because I realize now that that wastes so much more time. We want to skip the planning. I don't need to write an outline. I don't need to plan it. I'm just going to brain dump the whole paper. And again, it goes all over the place, and then it's way harder to reel it in. So planning is step 1. Then you write your draft. Then you revise your draft. Revising comes before editing. Technically, revising and editing go back and forth, but revising is about ideas as far as I teach it, and editing is more about the technical details of your paper. And then finally, publishing, which in most cases for you all listening, that means turning it in on time. Okay, so that's what you would think of as publishing. So the writing process has 5 parts: plan, draft, revise, edit, publish. I know that that was quick. You can go into more detail on your own. So to recap here, we want to create a template that we're going to use over and over and over and over for years. Have name, date, teacher, title at the top. Put your page numbers in. I selected to Times New Roman 12-point font by default for all papers because that's usually what teachers want, but you can do whatever you want here. And then fill in the information below these sections that I taught you. Put in your bibliography. Have your reminder for putting the rubrics below, and have your reminder for the writing process. With that, again, my name is Seth Perler, SethPerler.com. Leave a comment. What did I leave out? Is there anything that you would add to this that would make life easier for everybody watching this, that they could do in a template like this? If you have any ideas, go ahead and add them. If you have any questions or what have you, add those below. And if you like my work, support it, share it around. Go to SethPerler.com. ExecutiveFunctionSummit.com is my summit, or EFLab.com or ExecutiveFunctionLab.com. And yeah, I want to wish you joy today. I want to wish you peace of mind today. And I want to wish you, most importantly, connection with the people you care about today, particularly the kids in your life. Have a fantastic day. Again, my name is Seth Perler, SethPerler.com. Take care. Bye.